Welcome to the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Thursday, September 7th. This is Gina McGuire. Over the next couple of days, we will continue to have increases in fire potential as lightning, being a mix of wet and dry, moves north and east across the Great Basin. Today, thunderstorms will move up into Idaho, and by Friday, they will overspread much of the geographic area. These thunderstorms highlighted in the red will be a mix of wet and dry, but also producing very gusty outflow winds, with outflow winds in excess of 50 or 60 miles per hour. We will continue with wetter thunderstorms over the southern areas of the Great Basin, and today winds will be somewhat breezy with southerly winds gusting between 25 and 35 miles per hour or higher over parts of central and southern Nevada. Over the last 24 hours, we've had significant lightning over the southern and western areas of the Great Basin, and this morning we still have some lightning over far southern Nevada into the Arizona Strip. These thunderstorms were a mix of wet and dry, with some wetter thunderstorms especially over Utah into southern Nevada, and very gusty outflow winds, especially over central and western Nevada, with gusts yesterday above 60 miles per hour. Over the last 24 hours, we've seen light initial attack across the Great Basin with 9 new fires reported, but we still saw significant growth on our large fires. Over the last 1 to 2 weeks, we've had generally very light amounts of precipitation and has been well below normal for the time of year, and many areas of northern Nevada into northern Utah and southern Idaho have been dry for the last 2 weeks. How this is reflected in our fuel conditions: ERCs have increased to above the 80th or 90th percentile over the northern half of the area and are above the 97th percentile in parts of northern Nevada and also parts of central and eastern Idaho. If we look at the ERC graphs, we can see the ERCs in these areas that have been increasing over Idaho and into northern Utah. ERCs are near records for the time of year. Even over northwest Nevada, where ERCs are a little bit lower, they are still well above normal. Our 10-hour fuel moisture is also very low over much of the geographic area, with the exception of areas of southern and eastern Nevada that recently saw some moisture. Also, 100-hour fuel moistures are in the lowest, below 5th percentile over much of the northern half of the Great Basin as well. Our satellite loop from this morning shows still remnant cloud cover from the thunderstorms yesterday over parts of central Nevada into southern Utah, with also still some thunderstorms ongoing near the Arizona Strip into far southern Nevada and southwest Utah. However, generally clear skies are in effect over much of Idaho and Wyoming and western Nevada. Again, it's the northern areas of the Great Basin today into northern Utah, which is where these thunderstorms will initially develop. We'll see a little bit drier conditions today over western Nevada, but still some isolated thunderstorms cannot be ruled out. Now looking at the weather pattern for today, again you can see this trough off the west coast, which is pushing that moisture eastward today into southwest Idaho, also into Utah and the eastern half of Nevada. You could see a few isolated thunderstorms over far western Nevada, but drier conditions over the central and parts of the southern areas of the state. So again, we're highlighting that lightning on our significant fire potential outlook as it moves up into Idaho, northern and northeast Nevada, and northern Utah. Again, gusty outflow winds will be the main threat along with the lightning with these thunderstorms. You can see the image on the left shows that picture of where we're expecting those thunderstorms to occur. Again, some isolated activity in the far west, but the bulk of the lightning will again be pushed further east over the eastern half of the Great Basin. Also today, gusty outflow winds again will be associated with those thunderstorms, but even outside of thunderstorm activity, southerly winds will be increasing with gusts around 30 or 35 miles per hour over parts of central and southern Nevada and along parts of the Sierra Front. As we move into Friday, that moisture starts to be pulled back a little bit further west and we'll likely see lightning area-wide. However, the main concerns with that lightning are where it will initially move in after very dry periods over eastern Idaho and Wyoming and continuing over northern Utah. In other areas, we'll see generally slightly wetter thunderstorms. Again, on Friday, you can see where we're expecting those thunderstorms, generally region-wide. We will see gusty outflow winds again with the storms on Friday, and those sustained winds may be a little bit stronger over parts of central Nevada, but generally associated with thunderstorm activity. As we move into Saturday, we will continue with thunderstorms over the eastern half of the area, but many of these areas will see at least a day or two of thunderstorms prior to Saturday, therefore we may see some slight moistening of the fuels, so we have not issued any high risk. On Saturday, you can see where we're expecting that lightning. The only drier area of the Great Basin might be far northwest Nevada, but other areas will continue to see lightning with gusty outflow winds. Also, winds will be shifting more to a west or northwest direction over parts of Idaho. 3-day forecast amount of precipitation is in the image here. You can see the wetter thunderstorms we're generally expecting across parts of Utah into the southern half of the Great Basin, with precipitation a little more spotty in areas further north. As we move into later in the weekend to next week, we see drier air moving in across the region. We still have some moisture remaining over the southern half of the Great Basin, so we'll likely continue to see at least some thunderstorms, but drier air and westerly flow will move up into Idaho and northern Nevada. By Monday, the dryness really starts to take hold across Idaho. We still may see some lingering moisture in the far south for thunderstorms, but it's this area of the Great Basin where fuels have been moderated. Otherwise, generally drier conditions will move into the north. This trend will continue on Tuesday and also into Wednesday as well. We may have to watch towards the middle of next week as some moisture might be returning to the north, but right now it's fairly uncertain. Overall forecast amounts of precipitation for the next 7 days show that precipitation, which includes what we already saw in the 3-day, and then also if we do see some of that moisture move up into Idaho, we may see a little bit more rainfall in the 7-day outlook, especially as we go towards the early part of the weekend. Looking a little bit further ahead into the 3rd week of September, still warm conditions in the west, but we may see some precipitation above normal come into the northern parts of the Great Basin as we see some of these systems dip a little bit further south. That concludes our briefing for today. If you have any questions, feel free to contact us. Thank you for listening.